Okay, so we are on now. Sorry, everybody. We are running a little bit late because of technical issues with the streaming across the different platforms. So sorry for that. It's been now solved, at least for YouTube and LinkedIn. So what I will do, I'll just give it a few minutes just to make sure that more people join. Because I received some messages of people waiting and nothing happening. Yeah, sorry for that. So I'll just share the paper that I will be recommending and talking about today. So I'll leave it here and we wait 2 or 3 minutes. In the meantime, you can go and Google this so you can have it downloaded. I can also give you the link to it. But I think you can just Google. This is from DeepMind. It's just dropped on June the 10th, so a few days ago. So you should be able to find this paper. So this is the one that I'll be talking about today briefly before we move on to the news section focusing on the anthropic ban. So yeah, so if you are joining now, sorry again, we are 15 minutes late due to technical issues, streaming across different platforms, but we are on now. That's what really matters. So on the screen, you see the paper that I will be talking over today briefly. This is not a reading, a paper reading session. I'll explain in a minute when we start how these sessions work. So I'll just wait for extra. In about 3 minutes, we can get started. If you are just joining, just feel free, before we start, feel free to go and download this paper. This is the topic, the main topic that I will be talking about. This is the one that I chose to recommend you. And during the session, I will be briefly making my case to why you should read it, why I think it's very interesting, and give my overall view. And then we will move on to the second part of the session, which is about the news part, where we'll focus on the anthropic recent ban by the US government. So stay tight. And by the way, thank you for joining us this Sunday. So it's called Sunday roast because in the UK there is the famous roast dinner on Sundays. So yeah, I already have mine. So I normally have roast dinner just around 3 o'clock. So yeah, it was very good. Yes. So the idea around these sessions are really to during the week to curate a paper, a list of papers from the week, because that I see from my feed. I get plenty of them. And the idea is to then select one paper that I recommend you to go and have a read. I've already scanned through this paper this morning. So okay, we give it 2 more minutes, 1 minute, 2 more minutes actually. And then we should start with the main part, which is about this paper. I'm also just getting used to this new streaming platform, so there's a bit of a learning curve to there's so many settings. And since we are talking about AI, a lot of these companies, every company now wants to integrate AI into them, and this naturally makes the usability sometimes, I find it very often now with a lot of these systems, the software systems that we use, very confusing, because there is a widget for AI assisted this, AI assisted that. It becomes very confusing. Yeah, so they lost the simplicity. Most of these software in trying to integrate AI into them. That's my view, anyway. What do you think? By the way, let me check if I have enabled chat, because you should be able to send chat. Yeah, I believe it's enabled. So feel free to send your message. I'll read it. Um, let's see if more people joined across the different platforms that we are streaming to. I know it's Sunday. You probably having a relaxed time at home before Monday. Uh, that's one of the reasons that these sessions will be very brief in general. No more than 1 hour, possibly 45 minutes or less. Yeah. So okay, so let's get started. I come across this paper by Google DeepMind, and I found it very, 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 very interesting. Um, so the paper is titled "From AGI to ASI." Yeah. So first of all, um, what I found very interesting is their definition of artificial general intelligence. Okay, they say it's roughly median human level general intelligence across most cognitive tasks. Okay, generally when you hear the term AGI, you think about Space Odyssey, how the think robot, or you think about Terminator and these things, or something that's very evil. That's normally the thing, what's being associated with this term AGI. But here they are very pragmatic, I would say, or very narrow, I would say. One of my colleagues actually who read this said, well, compared to what they've been saying 5 years ago, this is moving the goalpost to a less ambitious definition. Okay. So whatever you make it, so they define whatever you make of it, they define artificial general intelligence as being roughly median human level general intelligence across most cognitive tasks. And then they define artificial superintelligence, this is ACI, as being general intelligence above large coordinated human expert collectives across most domains of human activity. These, of course, these include also like intellectual activity, of course, science, and so on. So this is very interesting because they give these definitions, and this is from they build rest of the paper from these two definitions. So it's clear what they mean with the artificial general intelligence, and what they mean with the artificial super intelligence. So there's no ambiguity here for interpretation. It's clear what from their context, what they mean. Um, and generally, the paper focuses on what comes after the AGI. Um, so one of the argument is that we are almost, we are moving towards AGI, if we take AGI to be their definition, right? Because these models now are very capable of, completing a lot of, tasks. Let's say, white collar tasks, for instance. So yeah, so there are a lot of they have a lot of capabilities. They have increased a lot of their capabilities over the past few years. Um, so one of the things that they also make the case for the advantage of AI systems, the fact of these being like digital, right, by nature, because they are not, there's no human component, so these are not biological systems. um, is that they argue that artificial systems scale through properties that biological intelligence cannot easily match. Okay, and they highlight few things like being able to copy, to replicate, speed, memory, parallel search, and shared experience. So I thought that also a little bit very um, a little bit interesting to take to this thing. So you might argue, some people might indeed argue the opposite about that, in terms of the limitations of the biology, the limitations of biology on humans. But yeah, I thought this also to be something interesting, interesting observation. Um, and then the other interesting part of the paper is their pathway to how do you move from AGI, um, how do you move from AGI as per the definition that they gave of AGI, right, uh, towards ASI. How do you go about that? From the paper's point of view, um, they follow four pathways. They highlight four pathways. The first one I will highlight is scaling compute, um, um, better models, and better data. So um, that's the first pathway. So they basically argue that we need effective compute infrastructure and effective model architecture that's capable of scaling, data scale, and also some sort of a good test time budget, right? So you are able to to push the models to the to the limit. I suppose that's their argument. Of course, this leaves the question: how scale translate into capability gain? How do we quantify, the return, right? Because say, for example, uh, in terms of scaling the compute, right? It's very expensive, right? Building data centers and this type of stuff. In fact, we'll the paper also in one of the things I'll come to that about limitations um, of the thing the infrastructure to make this happen. Um, so yeah, so scaling compute models and data. This is one of the pathways. The second pathway that they highlight is algorithmic paradigm shift. So they basically make a case for if we are going to move, I suppose, towards ASI, we need a better model architecture. So the current foundation that we have, which is basically the transformer architecture, is not enough. So we need to move beyond this architecture to new architectures, to new um, also this comes in with the new objectives, new tools as well needs to be developed to support the implementation of these architectures. For some of you who have been following this thing, the recent developments, there is a lot of recent companies, including a company founded by ex-Meta research lead, the Yang Lokang. He's basically him, and there's another lady from what's her name? I forgot her name. Um, this is embarrassing. I should know. I should know. I don't remember every names. Yeah. Um, they are basically focused on world models. Okay, so these are models that um, are just not are not just trained on like test data as base foundation, similar to like large language models, but these are also capable of learning from like the physical world, right? So So this fits very well to what this paper is advocating for, which is a new architecture paradigm that's needed in order for us to jump from AGI to ASI. And for me also, especially from our point of view, we think this is where mathematics will play an important role here. Um, in particular, the use of advanced branches of mathematics, stuff like differential geometry, category theory, and all these fields that haven't traditionally found their way into computers, into AI. Over the past few years, I would say about 5 years. Over the past 5 years, these tools have been ostensibly now being explored by a small number of researchers. They are not mainstream yet, but I think this could possibly play a very important role in trying to find new sort of architectures that go beyond ASI. The current transformer models, and so help us transition according to this definition here from AGI to ASI. So mathematics, I think, will play a very important role because if you think about it, a lot of these existing paradigm, say for example, even the existing um, in mainstream machine learning, the system optimizers and these things, they are all based on gradient descent. This gradient descent algorithm, this is based on like mathematics, calculus stuff that has been invented centuries ago, right? This is not like modern mathematics, strictly speaking, right? So the question is, imagine if you start deploying much more modern mathematical machinery, where you start to leverage the modern mathematical toolkits and techniques in order to help build these models. So definitely, it's something that we advocate for, and this is one of the reasons that we created QF Academy, is to help practitioners, get access to these abstract mathematical ideas so that they can go and try to do something about it. So that's the model paradigm shift that this paper argues for. There is also the other thing they say, which is the recursive improvement, where basically AI speeds up R&D, data generation, tooling, hardware design, and experimentation. So this is basically where you get AI itself to help speed up research, basically. So you have like I won't say like a minimal human intervention, but where you have most of the heavy lifting being done by AI. So this is also something that I think it's already starting to happen. It will become more established over the coming years. So yeah, we already seen that in thing where models are training models. So this is already happening in a way, but it will happen even in a much more greater scale, I would say, and also in terms of like the scope of the thing, the design of the architectures, where machines will have pretty much a huge input into the whole process. I think we'll probably try to get there over the next, I would say 3 to 5 years. We should be there. The final interesting thing in terms of the 4 pathways that they highlight is this thing of, let's say, group agent formation. Basically, what they say is that, basically, AGI won't be like some sort of in this case, ASI won't be some sort of a monolith, something like a single big giant intelligence, right? Knowing everything, but rather it will be something that's a little bit more distributed. So some sort of um, it have some form of a orchestration of self-organized agents. So you have like orchestration of many agents, each of the agents, being expert in one thing. This is already in a way underway. It's being already in a way, these ideas um, are already present today in terms of like something that they call like a mixture of experts. Chances are, if you today you ask a model, right? I mean, you join a chatbot interface. Okay, you're not talking to one model. You are most likely talking to more than one model. So, and whichever model responds to you, it's basically depends on what you are asking. So if you want an image generation, you're probably talking to a model that's been trained properly on imaging. If you're talking about test, you're probably talking about a model that's been trained better in the text. So in a nutshell, make sure of the experts is this idea of having different models that are have some sort of specialized capability. And then when a user asks um, for some tasks, they are routed to the model that's most likely the most capable model to do that. So in a way, when you talk today to chatbots, you are actually not talking to one single model. Okay, the version it might be the same. They might call them the same. This is whatever 5.0, whatever, and these things. But in terms of capabilities, you are most likely talking to like a mixture of experts. So these are like different sub models that are able to do specific tasks better than like having the thing being done by a single model. So in a way, what they are arguing is that this is I suppose this is like this idea here is more of a mixture of experts 2.0 on steroid. So you will have ASI will not be just one single like monolith model, but you will have like a multiple specialized models that um, are are connected together in order to form the intelligence that we need, or they need, in this case Google, that they want to build. So yeah, so that's basically the thing, the four uh, things pathway that they highlight on the paper. I really haven't had the time really to dive deep into the thing, into the paper. So I just went I look at just I skimmed through it basically to get the essence, which is these four pathways in particular. Also at the start, what um, they mean with going from AGI to ASI. What is ASI? So go and read about it. I will also go and read about it with more detail. But yeah, this is the first paper that I definitely recommend. Um, so let's see. Anyone has any questions? Have you downloaded the paper already? I mean, it should take maybe without interruptions. um, it should take maybe 1 hour, or possibly, if you can really super focus, 1 hour should be enough. If not, maybe 2 or 3 hours. Just in the thing, you should be able to scan through it all. Yeah. Um, it took me about 45 minutes for me to look at it, because I had other appointments, things to already on a thing on my schedule. But yeah, I hope you like it. If you go and read it, please feel free to reach out to me to see to share what you think. Um, and yeah, we now open for questions. See if you have any questions across the platforms. I know there is a bit of latency, so it's going to take a bit. Let me open the chat. Any questions? Have you downloaded the paper? It's all right. You can. Next week we are back again, hopefully without technical issues, so I can highlight, recommend another paper that you should probably look at. Let's see. We have people on YouTube. Let's see. And LinkedIn. What do you think? And also we have our QF Academy members also from a special, they have like a, through a special link that was sent to them. So, hi guys, do you have any questions? Okay, so maybe we move on to the next segment, right? So the next segment will be about the news. So the idea around this Sunday roast series, I'll repeat again, is we start first with the highlight of a paper that comes through our community feed. And then the second part of the session is to discuss some breaking news or some latest development or something that's worthwhile discussing. And today, for us, that segment is about Anthropic. I think you probably an Anthropic user, right? Cloud Code, everyone uses that. Yeah, I also use Cloud Code, right? We are all experimenting with these tools just to see what they are capable of doing, but also to be able to, to not be buying into the bullshit about capabilities, right? So yeah, so let me just stop sharing this. So this is the end of the paper brief. We'll start with the thing with the breaking with the news brief. In this case, we're going to be talking about Anthropic. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Have you all? Well, I mean, it happens late. The whole thing happened on on Friday, so most people probably may. I won't blame you if you are not aware of it. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah. So this is the announcement from the thing, the blog post on the Anthropic's website. Um, so if you can go to their website, you will see this. And the thing is that we actually on if you go to our Substack, we posted a follow up on this to say that this was predictable. This ban, because if you remember, those of you who follow Anthropic, but also um, not just the broader AI ecosystem, the public releases, about capabilities, benchmarks, and all this stuff. Back in April, I believe it was in April, Anthropic presented Mythos as unusually, as very good, as like extremely good at, exploiting vulnerability, and also with good cyber offense capabilities. So this is one of the things that Anthropic did, and for that reason, they didn't normally these AI labs when they announce a model, they announce all these capabilities that they're able to, capable of doing and these things, and then they would generally make the model available to to their users, based on whatever access, I guess the type of subscription access, uh, but that doesn't matter anyway. So but in this case, they didn't release the model immediately. They didn't make it accessible to everyone with the subscription on Anthropic, on Claude. So what they did instead, because they said the capabilities of these model, this model, this Mythos 5, is so dangerous that it would be responsible for them to give access to to give like a blank access to everyone. So they had this program where they invited certain organizations, to have access to preview the model. And actually a lot of uh, people who participated in the program, generally the feedback was actually great, to say that the model is actually very capable. They were impressed with it. Yeah. Now, the problem then, this is where I think it was this is a double-edged sword situation here, right? um, when in the case of anthropic when a model is described in these terms, especially with national security stuff involved as well, um, then the political stuff starts to come in. The politicians, the thing, the bureaucrats, the national security people. In the case of the United States, one has to remember, um, the United States is currently involved in a thing, in a war in the Middle East with Iran, right? We can argue whether this was really a necessary war. That's another topic that we can talk about. But if you put yourself in the national in someone, I'm not putting an excuse, like giving an excuse to to the thing, to U.S. officials, right? Um, but if you put yourself in a thing from a national security perspective, the country is at war with another country, in particular, where asymmetric warfare is being used a lot, right? This is one of the reasons why America is finding it hard, because the Iranians are using asymmetric warfare in order to keep the situation in the current status, right? It's basically in a stalemate at the moment, right? So so you could imagine um, the people uh, responsible for national security thinking, hang on a second, if this model is capable of, say, disrupting critical infrastructure, both at home here in the US, but also across the Middle East, with our allies, um, then we probably don't want this model to be generally available, so that it doesn't fall into, say, um, uh, uh, say the Iranian hands, for instance, or their proxies, right? Um, by the way, I'm not painting, like, to say, like, this thing of, like, you know, because conflict is very murky. You can't just paint, good and bad guys, right? So I'm strictly neutral here. Okay. So yeah, so you can, going back again, staying on topic, so you can see why the U.S. government, um, given the situation that they are involved, especially the Trump administration, in particular, the clash they have had with the Anthropic doesn't help as well. I could imagine, I could see this. It wasn't hard to guess that this was going to happen. They would impose the ban. So in a sense, Anthropic shot themselves in the foot. That's why I agree with Yan Lokang when he said Darius' ridiculous fear mongering about Mythos and the AI engine finally pays off. The US government bans its use by non Americans, including by foreign employees in the US. Well, this includes also, I suppose, Anthropic employees, who are, a large chunk of Anthropic employees are actually, foreigners, not just those who are based in the US, but also, they have offices across Europe and other parts of the world. So these people will, reading, interpreting the announcement, the reading is that they will also not be able to access it. In fact, someone I saw somewhere on my feed that even their star employee that they recently hired, what's his name? Andre Carpati, yes. He probably don't have access to this because he's not American. Okay, maybe he has dual citizenship, but yeah. So anyway, so I completely subscribe to. I see where Lokang is coming from. Um, so I think definitely this is um, one of the things that um, other AI companies will be very careful to take in terms of like hype, right? Hyping capabilities, and I think this is not just a marketing. If there is a national security implication, you might pay a big price, not just commercially, but also in terms of like your own R&D. Because if you have a model that your own employees cannot use, well, it's not going to help you with R&D, is it? So and if you have like customers, most a big chunk of your customers, from abroad, and you frame your model, your thing, the scaremongering in terms of national security, of course, that can also affect your bottom line, because what can happen is exactly what happened with this the order from the U.S. government, that um, the ban on like foreign usage. This also, I think, for me, I posted that this doesn't just apply to AI. Quantum computing companies also are on notice, right? Especially hardware companies that when they release the benchmarks, oh, we are almost there, we only need this and these things. Well, be careful, because it can come and bite you. If you publish that you are about to break cryptography, the U.S. government will definitely not want your thing, your hardware, to be available to to anyone, right? Because the U.S. government and the others, you know, and uh, other governments, allies and these things, they all rely on existing cryptographic stuff. People talk about migrating. Migration is a non-trivial um, thing to do. You can't just overnight migrate to post-quantum cryptography. This is like multi-year journey, so it's not something just you can just overnight migrate and then say, okay, I don't care if there's a quantum hardware that's capable of breaking, say, elliptic curve, or factoring, in this case RSA. So yeah, that's my comment on this. I basically on Anthropic, I subscribe to his view. I think it was a shot in the foot, because Anthropic, through, let's say, the CEO, has been scaremongering a lot around. But also, it turns out, actually, let's just see if I can pull it. What actually triggered it is, according to the Washington Post. Let me just share this with you. Let's see. This is very very interesting. It doesn't get better. Because let's see, what is this? Dun, 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 dun. Just a moment, I need to find it. Just finding the screenshot, basically. Just a moment, because it's very interesting. This is actually has been just published a few hours ago. So I don't think it's been propagated. So for you, this might be a breaking news for you. Um, so let's see. While I'm pulling up this, what do you think about the whole thing, the whole anthropic thing? Please feel free to type on the chat. The more I have you on the chat, the more I'm motivated to stay longer, because otherwise, once the time is up, I will just disconnect. So I need you to be engaged. Yeah, let's see. Anthropic. Amazon. Pretty sure. Okay, I cannot find the link, or it's not. Have they pulled it up, down? I mean. So basically, the thing says um, Amazon CEO Andy Jassy, Amazon. Well, he used to be AWS only, but he's now the whole Amazon CEO. Um, According to the report on the Washington Post, I believe. Okay, I will double check for you. Um, After he talked to the U.S. officials, this is actually what what was basically what triggered the thing, the ban. Okay, now this is very interesting because Amazon is a big investor on a big investor in Anthropic, and B, they are also good partners, right? Because Anthropic deploys their stuff on AWS. So I don't know how the whole thing will pan out, but let's see. I thought I saw the link somewhere. Let's see. It's actually not Washington Post. It's I always mistake them. It's Wall Street Journal. So Wall Street Journal. Um, let's see if I can download the image. Well, someone might argue they are all the same. Nowadays, the thing in terms of media independence. Sorry, I'm just having a go at like Wall Street Journal. Let's see. Yeah, voila. This just put it for you. Well, I haven't got subscription on with the Wall Street Journal, so you won't be able to see it. But here's the link. I'll paste it on the chat so you can take a look. Um, Maybe I can also show you the headline. I took it from my mobile phone because when I saw this, I was having a coffee and preparing for this live. Um, let's see. Why is it not loading? Uh, okay, let me share the URL on the chat with you so you can go and look at the article on Wall Street Journal. It's Wall Street Journal, not Washington Post. I always mistake them because they all start with W. um, oh well, what is chat? Oh yeah, chat is here. Okay, so I posted the URL. Okay, so we've got a question here by our friend Constantine. I think that if someone did it, then most likely someone else will do it. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I think it's ridiculous in this case of banning foreign 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 workers. Sorry, foreign nationalities, right? Because does not change the calculus of the thing of anyone, like state sponsored actors, for instance. You can just hire proxies, hire or build a laptop farms, with someone with these foreign state actors are normally good at faking identity, right? They can create personas. They have agents deployed across the US. I won't name I won't name any specific countries, but okay, I'll name one. Say North Korea, for example. There was a case where I think someone was arrested because they were using laptop farms in the US in order to enable people based in North Korea to work for US companies, thinking that they were based in the US because obviously they were logging in remotely from North Korea to the laptops and then dial in from those laptops to whatever. So yeah, so Konstantin, you are absolutely right. I think this is frankly, I view this like way overblown, unproportional response to this, to say foreigners, because it doesn't really help. I think this is where I think the political stuff comes in, because this sends a signal, I guess. This is where I think there's some sort of a political motivation by the Trump administration here, that a message that they want to send out to their America First crowd, I guess. So yeah, but it doesn't. It makes no difference if a state actor wants to have access to the tank. There's so many different ways that they can do that, and not the least, um, if Anthropic is able to build this model, well, be sure that other companies with the resources will also be they can also put in the resources there, and they have the technical abilities, as capabilities, human capital, and to do this, right? So it doesn't really. I think it's like it's basically nonsense to do this, to ban. Um, yeah. So thank you for bringing that up. Um, okay, so I was going to share the screenshot. You see, any other? What do you think? Have you been affected by Anthropic? Actually, I haven't logged in yet to things, so I haven't checked, because I do have an Anthropic account, but I haven't checked yet. um, have you logged in, and does it say? Because I've seen quite few people on the thing on social media saying that showing their UI, they have been banned, presumably because Anthropic obviously got their data and realized could say for one way or the other that they are not U.S. citizens, which is, yeah, I think it's just stupid. And what this can also do is to open up a precedent later. It's starting with okay, non-U.S. citizens, but then you never know. This thing can evolve into something more, more out of um, what's the right word for this? Something more sinister, right? To say, okay, imagine, I mean, I'm just being very, I guess I'm being very cynic. Um, you can imagine then you're saying you have some political pressure on Anthropic to say, people with, say, left wing views cannot have access to this, right? They could correlate your post on social media or something. Likewise, people with right wing views cannot have access to this, and so on. So it starts to become very, you know, um, I would say, very undemocratic, right? When you start to restrict access based on whatever, and also the thing of handing power to a company, for a company to be able to have this monopoly to decide, you know, who this is just, yeah, it's I think it just creates something that even the AI companies probably don't want, because they might end up losing customers, right? I've seen people in this case of trying to put, okay, so one thing I didn't mention is that Anthropic, instead of releasing Mythos, they released a downgraded version that they call Fable. Apparently, it has more or less the same capabilities, but it comes with more guardrails or something. And then what happens is, what happened is, at least looking at some feed on social media, is that some people are saying the guard rails are so bad that even trivial questions are taken as suspicious, and they are blocked. They are immediately downgraded to another model. So they are kicked off Fable if they ask stuff like typical, like things to do with biology, because this thing might think they are doing stuff like building bioweapons or something. Say for example, you ask questions about fertilizers, which I've seen a lot of people show screenshots about it. They were blocked. So yeah, it's just ridiculous. Yeah. And initially they were just downgrading people without telling them. So it's basically doing censorship without telling your own customers. This is terrible. Okay, so any other views? Because I will make a prediction here, because Anthropic is about to go public, or at least they filed to go to IPO. They filed to IPO, so I suppose they should be floating on the stock market in the next, probably before the end of the year, right? So I don't think they will probably want to be involved with these type of things again. This is why I think, this is my prediction. By the way, here's the article, the Wall Street Journal article. I hope you can see this. Yeah, so this is the thing. You can Google it. I don't have a subscription to Wall Street Journal, so I cannot access the thing to read it. But yeah, you can go and look at it. Apparently, this is what triggered the crackdown. Yeah. So anyway, I was saying, um, Anthropic is going to be floating on the stock market. He's probably before the end of the year. So I think they will probably, after this, this is this is the whole thing. This is not a nice way, to prepare your company, I would say, to go to the market. It doesn't inspire confidence, right? In terms of the thing, um, in terms of convincing investors, right? Especially public market investors about, the long term viability of the business, and also, you know, um, the questions whether the leadership. I'm not here to say obviously Dario is a great great guy. He was leading at OpenAI, right? He was one of their biggest guys there before he left with the disagreement with Sam Altman, from what I can understand. But my prediction is, in the next couple of weeks, probably, possibly, maybe they will wait until they go public. But then I think there have to be a massive change in terms of how Dario communicates. So I think that Dario will probably eventually step down, and they will probably install a new a new CEO in the company. Um, Depending on where the market goes, I think if their main thing are developers, I I would bet that Andrei Karpathy will probably be the next CEO of Anthropic. So that's my prediction. Let me pull in, so we can have it on the record here in case it happens. Say, okay, yeah, I can brag myself to say, I am I am right. So I predict, in the next couple of months, either right before they float into the stock, market, or after. I predict if the developer ecosystem is something that Anthropic is going to focus a lot. I predict Dario will become possibly a co-CEO, but I predict Andrei Karpati, this chap here, will be Anthropic's next CEO. That's my prediction. What do you think about it? Let me just share it so we can have it on the record, so I can later